The person that I saw the monkey with last night absolutely hated it, like really hated it. But I had a different experience. I can't wait to talk to you about it. I found the monkey to be funny, clever, poignant, highly artistic, intelligent, deeply disturbing, and also haunting. Part of me is sorry that I saw it, but another part of me is very glad that I did. This movie elicited from me an intellectual and emotional reaction that is usually reserved for when you look at high art. And I'm just very, very impressed that Osgood Perkins was able to accomplish that with a genre film. Wow! Now, to be fair, it's not scary. And I think that is emerging as one of the chief criticisms of the film. If you're just looking for some jump scares and like a traditional horror film, a slasher movie, this is not for you. This is a very intellectual, smart, movie. I said the last movie I said was like going to a museum with Megalopolis. This is more structured than Megalopolis. It is, still a commercial product. But I do think there is some similarity. We'll see how the movie does. But there are, for instance, one of the, I had heard going into the movie that it has like these insane kills, right? And it was really like intense. But it turns out that they're insane and that they're so over the top and they end up becoming cartoonish, which I've seen some people complaining about that. Whereas I think it fits with the camp tone that Osgood Perkins has decided to go with. So, the movie, again, not scary, but I found the film absolutely terrifying on a fundamental level. Like, I didn't have to look away while I was watching the movie. If you don't like scary movies, you can watch this movie. You're not going to be like, oh my God, I can't even look at the screen. But you will be deeply disturbed. It took me a little bit of time to shake this movie. I was very disturbed when I walked out of the theater. They have these monkey popcorn buckets that they're selling. I didn't even want to go near it. The movie freaked me out that much. I haven't had that kind of a reaction since I saw Inception. And Christopher Nolan was able to make me question reality for 24 to 48 hours. It was a similar kind of reaction. So that bodes well maybe for the movie. But it was very disturbing, deeply disturbing. I'm going to go into a little bit why, but don't worry, no spoilers. Now, on the surface, the movie might seem very simplistic. I was trying to see what people's reaction to this film was, and I saw one comment where someone was like, if you've seen the trailer, you've seen the movie. I don't agree with that at all. But it is simple on the surface. But just like high art, you need to look deeper and think about the meaning of the piece and also understand a little bit of the context of how the piece came to be and the artist behind it. And let me give you some important context from Osgood Perkins that he recently gave in an interview. This should have been written on the screen before the movie or at the end of the movie. I think he recently put out a trailer which features himself. I didn't watch it because I didn't want to have anything spoiled for the movie before I went to see it. Because I was like, I've seen one trailer kind of, that's enough. I want to be surprised going in. But this, I think, is important. So Osgood Perkins said that when James Wan first approached him to direct this movie, James Wan, who's the producer, already had a script ready to go. And Perkins said that script was the adaptation of Stephen King's original novel or short story, was very serious. But Perkins said he wanted to go with camp and he rewrote the script from scratch because of his own personal experiences. Now, it turns out that Osgood Perkins, both of his parents, died in horrific, bizarre, you never would have guessed kind of ways. It's very sad and depressing. Go Google it if you want to know. I don't even want it. This is bleak enough as it is. I told you this movie kind of freaked me out a little bit. But Osgood Perkins said that he had, he went on a journey dealing with those deaths. They were not close to each other. So it happened to him twice and not in a row. And to paraphrase his sentiment and what inspired him to make this movie the way that he has, he said, everybody dies, all different kinds of ways, and you never know how it's going to go. So with that realization in mind, what can you do but smile? And I mean, it's just, I think the movie is deeply personal, and you can feel that. I saw another critique of the film that said that it didn't have any human element to it. And I was like, are you freaking blind? I mean, it's probably the most human horror film I've ever seen because it makes you think about mortality. I mean, I'm like, what are you doing to me here, Osgood Perkins? It's Thursday night. I got my popcorn and my fizzy drink. I've switched to seltzer water. Darn you chemicals and stuff. But I was like, I'm trying to have a good time here. And I was just like, oh my God. Again, like this movie made me think about things and have like intellectual and emotional reactions. Let's go with the Nolan aspect to hopefully get more people to see the movie. But I was like, wow, so that's why the movie, in my opinion, is poignant, depressing, terrifying, but also brilliant. I mean, wow. It made me uncomfortable, intentionally so. But it also has like one of the best endings of a movie I've ever seen. Maybe in some ways I would say the best ending. I mean, the movie comes together just so beautifully. You're like, my God, I can't believe what I'm seeing. It was just brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And the fact that the monkey, which is a super depressing movie and traumatizing film, can still manage to end on a positive point. And I think I've eventually gotten there myself. I'm now focusing mostly on the positive and how moving it was. But considering how bleak the subject matter is and the inspiration for the film, that's amazing. And I think to try and make this just not ridiculously depressing is why Perkins went with camp. And camp was very popular in the 80s. And those filmmakers would be very proud of this film. I see little Sam Raimi's Evil Dead films, Frank Oz's Little Shop of Horrors, John Landis's An American Werewolf in London. And while he didn't make any horror movies, I think John Waters would really appreciate this film. So if you can't appreciate a good camp movie, you're probably not going to appreciate The Monkey. The movie also is a little slow. I didn't think it was slow. I was intrigued. The movie had me. But the person I went with was like, so slow. The pacing is like a freaking snail. Not a monkey, a snail. But I didn't think so. I think one of the things that might make it seem slow to others, but not some of us, is that if you don't catch the cinematic homages sprinkled throughout the movie, yeah, you might get bored. But if you do catch them, you're going to be like, oh my God, this is so fun. Like there are very strong references to the Italian horror genre, Giallo, Vertigo, Gremlins, and I'm sure there are many, many more. This was just the ones that I casually caught on my first viewing. Also, I think there's a lot of 80s references here, by the way. Like, for instance, I think this is Fast Times at Ridgemont High. If you're a film student or just enjoy breaking down movies like to that degree, this would be a great film to write a paper on. If you're studying film, or even if you're like in some high school class where you can pick your subject matter, you should pick The Monkey. Because it's really good. Like, for instance, it's not twins in the original Stephen King story. So why did Perkins make that choice? I mean, I'm still thinking about the movie and probably will be for a while. And I think even the most casual fan would have to appreciate all the fun cameos in the movie. I mean, it's not a ton, but it's a decent number of them. And they were great. I hope nobody ruins them for you because it was really fun to see them. And the film is just really well made across the board. The script, from Perkins, is very strong. Lots of callbacks. I love when stuff, crosses its T's and dots its I's. I'm like, thank you. Very strong. Again, very strong camp humor. Plus, as I'm saying, it's a very smart movie, very intellectual. Osgood Perkins knows film. I mean, again, the references are incredible. But, still he makes them his own. And also, again, it's based on his own personal experiences. And he has a lot of very interesting, unique things to say on this subject matter of mortality. And again, as I said, I think it's a deeply personal film. And you feel that. I mean, I would almost say the film is European. But like on a way that American audiences, I would hope, could get it. I'm really, really impressed with it. From a filmmaking perspective, in addition to all the great homages that I just mentioned, the film just looks great overall. Perkins is directing, all caps. He makes strong choices. You feel very much like you're watching a visual artist at work, so you don't always feel the director, but here I think you do in a good way. And he's able to operate at different levels. At one point, the movie seems relatively normal, and then all of a sudden you find yourself plunged like a character into a really inventive dream sequence. And you're like, are you doing this? It reminds me a little bit of Laika as well. Oh, that's a great reference. It reminds me very much of Laika movies, but live action. And the fact that Osgood Perkins is able to accomplish that is amazing. Like if like a live action horror movie in the style of Laika. And by the way, nobody ever goes to see Laika movies either. But if that sounds good to you, you will enjoy The Monkey. Now, the editing is even strong. You don't always notice editing, but here it not only underscores a lot of the horror sequences, like the kills and stuff like that, but some of the jokes. A lot of visual and physical gags in this movie. I was impressed. And the soundtrack, what a selection of songs. And also the music that plays when the monkey does his thing, like this carnival-esque music. It was such a great choice. And the casting, I love the casting. Theo James. You know, he might have started out in Downton Abbey and Divergent. Hey, an actor's got to start somewhere. And you take the break that comes, right? Sometimes people are like, I don't know if I want that to be me. Just get in there, because at the end of my cast breakdown here, I'm going to talk about some actors that no one's ever heard of, and it's very sad. So if you want to be an actor, you take that big opportunity. And then you see where you can go from there. Lots of actors have been able to get their career to where they wanted to be after they got it jump-started the way that was presented to them. So yeah, he did Downton Abbey and Divergent, but then Theo James started to do really strong voice work like Castlevania and most recently X-Men 97, and he won over a lot of genre fans. They were like, hey, this guy's great. And then of course, he also got some attention on The White Lotus when it was in Italy. Speaking of his voice work, that really comes in handy here because for the first chunk of the film, he's only doing voiceover work, and he has gotten very, very good at it. He's so good. My friend was even like, who is this? And I was like, Mr. Theo James. And then when he finally comes on screen, he's not only a very strong leading man and very easy on the eyes, the movie even makes a joke about that, but he's willing to go the distance when it comes to playing twins. As you'll see, again, as I said, no spoilers. I don't know if Theo James can sell tickets, but I hope this helps his career. I hope it's another great step forward for his on-camera work. If I were a producer or a development executive, this movie would make me put Osgood Perkins and Theo James on my list. This is as strong a pairing as Parker, whatever his name is from the Smile movies. It's not good. I don't remember your name, Parker. And then Naomi Scott. It's that good of an actor-director pairing, right? I mean, again, great stuff, exciting stuff is happening in the horror genre. I loved, for instance, James Wan's *Malignant*. You might recall that during the pandemic. It has similar vibes to this movie. And Wan, again, is a producer on The Monkey. But *Malignant* was not nearly as intellectual as this film. But again, even if these films don't blow up, you can see really strong talent coming on the board. And it's exciting. For instance, *Malignant* was written by Akilah Cooper, who went on to do Megan. So this is very exciting to me. This is great. Christian Convery looks nothing like Theo James, but he plays the younger version of the twins. And like James, really goes for it. Convery is from Sweet Tooth. Isn't that interesting? That's great. He's a good actor. But an even better actor, in fact, is Colin O'Brien, who also looks nothing like Theo James, but plays his son. But he does look like Christian Convery, which I found interesting. Some amazing line readings from O'Brien. And Rohan Campbell caught my eye in Halloween Ends. Do you remember him there? But he also stands out here as well. Tatiana Maslany also makes a really strong impression as their mother. That's all I'll say. Meanwhile, two other people I want to point out. Zia Newton has just like 2 scenes in the movie, but his deadpan comedic delivery, phenomenal. Very strong actor. And then his career is just starting though, but let's look at Tess Degenstein. She has a very small role as a realtor, 1 scene, but she is amazing. Not only her performance, but her look, her exaggerated makeup. I mean, she's like she came over from a Tim Burton movie. I just absolutely adored it. I hope she gets more work off of this. I mean, she was so good. That's Hollywood for you. She has been working in Hollywood for over a decade, and nobody knows really who she is, but she is a pro, and she did an amazing job in this scene. And again, I'm not going to ruin any of the cameos, and I hope that no one else does either because they are fun. Now, I mean, they're not huge. It's not like George Clooney shows up, but I really enjoyed them, and they fit the movie very well. Now, I didn't see Longlegs, which really put Perkins on the map as a writer-director, and I do know that was very divisive. So I can't compare the 2 films from my perspective. But I did see Jordan Peele's Nope, by the way, where Osgood Perkins had a cameo. And they're very similar. Not only they're both intellectual, but they're both full of cinematic homages. Nope is very Spielberg and Hitchcock homages. But the Monkey, the Monkey is a camp comedy. I mean, Nope had some comedic elements, but I mean, they are different films. But I think that Jordan Peele and Osgood Perkins are very similar filmmakers, which is interesting, very interesting. So if you can appreciate Nope, then you will appreciate The Monkey. But if you didn't like Nope, you probably won't like The Monkey, which scares me. If you liked Inception, I think I would hope you would give this, even if you don't like it, I'm telling you, this is a work of art. I think if you're all into film or the horror genre, I think you need to see it and form your own opinion. You might not like it. I'm warning you. You might not like it, but you should be open to the experience. Don't close yourself off to it. Don't be like, oh, no jump scares, I'm out. Be like, really, be like, what's Osgood Perkins trying to say here? Be open to the experience that's been created. You should see what's happening in the genre, in the space. Osgood Perkins is a really big name. He's a up and coming, very big up and coming hot talent. I think you should. I don't usually. I've been going to more horror movies because it's so slow, and I gotta say, I'm enjoying the genre. The genre is doing really exciting things. I think it might be the next hot space in the movie space. Maybe, while we're waiting to jump from comic books to video games. But I'm telling you, there are big things happening here. And The Monkey is in the horror space, and The Monkey is one of them. All right, so that's my non-spoiler review of The Monkey. Don't spoil anything from it. It's incredible. Don't you dare spoil that ending. That ending was so good. All right, be careful in the comment section because there's always some jerk who does it. And I'll try and catch them, but, it's the weekend. I won't be as on top of the comments as usual. All right, so share your thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.